And we are live. Hello, Frugal Force. How are you today? This is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, and I am joined by some awesome people. Uh, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they're just too good for me to introduce on my own. And our special guest today is Bill. Bill, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Captain Frugal. I'm Bill from Argos Creations, and Captain was kind enough to have me on with Nerd Wonder to promote my new book, Tales from Beyond the Gate.
And we have, which probably needs no introduction, the Nerd Wonder. You want to say hello, Nerd?
Hi, guys. I'm Nerd Wonder. I guess you guys probably already know me. But it's great being here, and we got a great thing to show you guys today.
Yeah, she's the reason people come to the channel, her and the guests. So let's be real about this one here.
Nice.
No, it's the truth. You just don't want to admit it. She's better than what she gives herself credit for, as always. So anyway, by the way, nice picture on the screen there, Bill. I'm gonna have that be the target picture for the moment so everyone can see that.
Oh wow, thank you.
So let's get into this, Bill. Tell us about yourself. What got you into comic books?
Well, I grew up I'm in my mid-40s, and I grew up in an era where like comic books were everywhere. You know, every store you went to. And really young, I was I guess I imprinted on the Batman TV show from the 60s. That was like in syndication, so that used to watch that all the time. And then there was like the Super Friends, and there was, you know, the Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends and things like that. And then so I'd get comic books off and on. And then one day I saw a comic book store when I was in a mall, and I was just like totally blown away that there's so many of these things, you know, with posters and t-shirts and everything all in one place. And I was hooked. So I've been collecting for quite a while. Yeah.
Did you start with buying comic books off of spinner racks by any chance?
Off a spinner rack. Yeah, I remember buying them at a 5 and Dime or 7-Eleven or at the Kroger. So yeah, the comic book store didn't come till years later.
You know, I think it's funny because I still remember that first time too, like walking into a comic store. Like you're saying, you had the spinner rack or a little shelf at a grocery store or a 5 and Dime. Then you go to this comic store, it's just wall-to-wall comics. It's like, oh my gosh.
You guys are so lucky. I did not grow up in that time period. I grew up in the time period where you had to go to a shop.
Yeah, it was a trip because, all right, you go to a store and you buy, and the comic books on the spinner rack, you know, they'd be thumbed through and creased and bent and well read. And then, but you could go for like $5 and come back with just a stack of them. And then the one time, actually, the first time I saw a comic book store, I was at a mall, went to a movie, the movie let out, and it was, the comic book store was actually closed. And the iron gate was down, you know, and you could see through it. And I remember seeing all these comics lining the wall, and I was like, what made those so special, you know? And and comic books under a glass, and some of them were like $40 or $50, and that when comic books were like 60 cents a piece, you know, a comic book that was like $40 or $60. I'm like, what?
And they always look so cool there on the wall, didn't they? You're just like, oh, I want that.
Yeah, they totally did. And then it's about when I was in actually grade school, I started drawing, and I was a big fan of the X-Men, and like in the 80s. And so I would draw like Wolverine all the time. And then when I started progressing, I got better in my art. And then I had a really cool art teacher take me under his wing and show me some more about anatomy and perspective and design. And so I was really hooked then. So I've been really drawing ever since. And so, yeah.
Did you ever have any really old artwork that your parents saved from like 3rd grade or something like that and showed you so you could see how far you've grown?
Yeah, I have. They have, and I actually have a plastic bin that I keep my paint in, and it's actually not too far away. Let me grab it real quick.
Awesome.
Okay, so here, this is a bin that I keep my oil paints in, and on it is a Wolverine I drew like in elementary school. Let me see if I can focus on that. So that would be.
Oh my god, that is so cute.
Totally.
That is adorable.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I can't believe you asked that. And I said, yeah, I was just cleaning my studio. And it even says on here comics. And so this is what I used to keep my comic books in a long, long time ago.
I've regressed. That's what my artwork is like now.
Comics and stuff.
Oh, that is really cool. You know, it's just something, you know, you grew up loving comic books and then you started drawing, and now you're in the process of making a creation with other creators. You're collaborating.
Mhm.
So you're taking that next step. So what made you decide to take the next step and make comic books?
It actually really was our movement, this whole independent movement that's come up, because I saw people just giving it a shot. They've never done a comic book before. They've loved the industry. They hate to see it crash the way it is, and want to do something to preserve it and create an alternate industry. So I want to get on board with that. I fully believe that, you know, I don't want to see comic books disappear. It's the best medium for a creator to share a story visually with an audience, where that relationship between creators and audience is one-to-one. You know, I mean, in some instances you have some editing, you know, and that's important. But other than that, it's really a one-to-one relationship. You don't get that. You don't have that in television. You don't have that in movies.
It is really quite fascinating, the opportunity that's out there today that just wasn't there when we were, you know, younger.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole ability to publish on your own, to distribute, to have the fundraising is a huge aspect, because ponying up, you know, $4,000 to $6,000 to get a comic book printed, take it to a store, you never know if it's going to sell, is daunting, and it actually, which, you know, keep the sane person from doing it. So, so now not saying that I'm totally grounded, but now that there's the opportunity of having an audience fund the book who want that material, who want to see the story produced, you have that guaranteed audience, changes the whole dynamic. The crowdfunding changes the whole dynamic.
Now, was there a particular YouTuber or something where you seen their video and you said, I got to get into this and start doing this? Now, I know you mentioned some the Comicsgaters from far back and things, but was there a particular one, a writer or an artist or something that did a video and you said, I got to do this too?
Actually, so I was watching Mike Miller's Drawn and Quartered, and the mods in there were dropping links to a fan edition. And I wondered what that was. So I checked out the fan edition and saw, you know, all these talented artists do their thing and everyone was talking about their project. And so I was actually working on a project. I just decided to go for it because there's so many, not a single particular person, but there's so many people doing it. I started working on a project about almost a year from this time. I think, it was late winter, early spring, a year ago. I started developing my project. And then a few months later, you know, I went on the fan edition, and from there, I've met everyone that I'm working with now on this project.
Well, since we're speaking about that project, why don't I put it up on you, Nerd? And so she has the page up here that I'll present there to everyone so they can see the project that we're talking about.
Check it out, guys. This looks beautiful. Oh, that creepy skull.
There it is. Tales from Beyond the Gate. So who came up with that name? I'm curious.
John did.
Okay.
So John was really the impetus for this. He was kind of the original idea was he wanted to work with, you know, his peers and put together a book, because of the doing one on your own takes so much time, and we want to strike while the iron's hot and get a book out as fast as possible. So why not have more people involved and help put this together?
Nerd, if you don't mind scrolling down to the bottom of this page so they can see all the people currently involved in this project, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because there's quite a few. You know, that's quite a task to get that many people together to coordinate and work on a project.
Yeah. There is 19 stories right now.
Wow.
19 stories in this book.
19 stories. Whew.
Yeah, and you have a few people doing multiple jobs, but I think we're at 15 or 16 different creators.
That's a lot to juggle. So I'm going to give you the evil question now. This is the mean one. who's the prima donna of the group, you know?
Oh, it's definitely John Dillard. John is the biggest character. He's a really fun guy, and he's not shy at all, you know. And he's very into this project. He's really excited about it. So he's done some good publicity. He was on EVS the other night. I'm not sure. I can't even follow all that he's doing. He's streaming daily to promote. And then, but John is really pretty important. And Chester is doing a lot of promotion also. Chester Busby from Fanspeak, and we have more people who are involved with Fanspeak and drawn and quartered on this project than anywhere else. And then people who are tangentially, you know, acquainted, friends, or friends of friends have come on and helped us as well. We actually have, if you don't have to talk about some of the creators, I guess while you're scrolling through it, Manny, who you just pulled up, he runs Good Dog Press, and he streams almost daily. He's an incredible artist. He's 30 some years experience of fine art, landscapes, sea scenery, and then he has a project coming up called The Unbreathable Skunk Girl. Pixel Trader you just saw there is one of the designers of Indicron.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we have Pixel.
I'm terrible at keeping up with names. I really am, as well as pronouncing them.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Which, if you watch my channel, you know. I'm not going to hide that. I'm terrible.
We all are or something. It's all good. And that's just a small sampling. There was so much promotional art right now. I wasn't sure what to put together, and having problems with my computer, I really couldn't I was going to put together a PowerPoint, but my whole thing has just crashed. So we're just going to wing it. But if you scroll down a little farther, you'll see some more of the people involved. There's some
pictures. Can you go all the way down to the bottom?
Sure.
Thanks, because he's got there's a whole list of things with everybody that's in it. If you go all the way down.
Okay. Oh,
there we go. Thank you, the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I have to say, I found that funny when I looked at it originally.
So
John Dillard's at the top of the pyramid here. Everyone, notice that.
Exactly. John designed the page, so good for him. He can go there.
That's right.
So there's Todd Mulrooney, who's part of the Graveyard Shift alumni, and there's Chester. Todd DeWolf is a commentator on Fanspeak, and he's writing. There's my ugly mug shot, and then next to me is Eric Weathers, who is everywhere. This guy does so much work, either lettering or coloring, but he's drawing a story, and his art is really amazing. And then Jay Pox is just, man, the guy is cranking out pages all the time. He's just amazing. Kevin Stewart is really a new face I had met just recently. He had a book on Indiegogo called Apollo, and his art's incredible. Willie Reed has a great YouTube channel. He's over 1,000 subs, and he loads consistently. He's a great artist. And talk a little bit about Manny. Kat is a newbie like me. She just won the Drawn Quartered Fan Edition last week and was on Mike's channel last night. And she's very clean, really nice artist. Nasser, he came on.
Crap, Nasser's in this. We're gonna have to cancel this video. Kick Nasser.
I know, right?
Kick him. Kick him fast.
We might make that a tier. Once it would be a kick Nasser tier if we hit it. So get a certain amount raised, we'll kick Nasser off the book. But that stuff's been voted on.
Genius.
Muttman, yeah. Then there's Muttman and Macho Dan. Those guys work together a lot. Denali is also a commentator on Fanspeak, and then Pixel, who we just mentioned. And then we have the pro sponsors. This part's really exciting. They all donated their time and energy here.
Just so not to stop you, but Dynamo in the comment section said, "I'm not backing until there's a 3-page shorter Nasser free edition." Just for the record, anybody who's not familiar, Nasser and I cheap shot each other. There's no actual hate there. I really like what he's doing. So,
no, it's all part of the fun of the community is picking on Nasser. He's everyone's little brother. That has no idea. But so John has a 1-page story. He's doing the Edgar Allan Poe story, Conqueror Worm. So that's just a short story. He's already drawn, and the artwork is amazing. So that one's already in the can. James David Hudnall, I believe, is working with Kevin on a story. Mike Barron, that's Mike Barron's professional photo.
Oh, jeez.
He's got his Green Bay toque on, and he's got, I don't know if that's scotch or if he's drinking a Stella Artois or what, but that's Mike Barron. He's working with Todd Mulrooney. Todd has the script and is drawing the pages right now. And I think the sample, we just passed one of the pages.
Who's
and then
that Nathan Van Scriver guy?
Oh, yeah.
No. He sounds like an idiot.
Yeah. He's been really generous. I mean, he's going to do a page 2 with his crazy schedule, but we're looking to have fulfillment in September, so hopefully he has enough time to get it done, to get one page done. I'm not sure, but I hope so. And then Mr. Shipman, Gary, is going to do, I think, a 3 or 4 page story. I'm not sure, but it's really cool to have Gary on. Gary is amazing too. I mean, all 5 of these people are really supportive of the project, and they're on board. So
that's really cool. So if anybody wants to, check up and see these art, you could check out those drawn in quarter videos and see their artwork in process, right? What they can do. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a few pieces from the drawn in quarter that I could actually show you in a minute while you're going through the Indiegogo page, though. But yeah, when you look at the tiers that we have, there's, I think, 3 or 4 tiers. It's pretty basic,
Well, shall we scroll through them? You want us to pull them up and we can talk about them?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Sorry, nerd, I'm putting you to work.
Okay.
Scroll on up to the tiers. Let the tiers begin. While she's moving on up, Dynamo mentioned again. He said, "How about a tier where you manually rip out the Nasser pages and send photographic proof you burned?"
This is so smart.
What you could do is burn them and include the ashes in a baggie with the books.
We could sprinkle the ashes on every page, or every one, over the whole lot at the fulfillment center, or however. Depends on how many we sell. We'll do it or maybe we'll mix it into some ink and sign it with that. That'll work. And then Samurai Raccoon asks, "Is Nerd Wonder being paid for this, Captain?"
She gets half of what I make.
There you go.
Exactly. It's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
50. So the featured tier, am I saying that right? That's the tier, right? Or is that I'm still booming on this, but so the featured one is the $60, and with that you have the Tales Beyond the Gate t-shirt, 2 big stickers, a poster from that cover. That cover was done by Model 316, did the artwork, and then if I'm wrong, they're going to kill me, but I'm pretty sure Jay Potts did the logo. So that was a collaborative effort there for the cover. That's the $60 tier. That's a great value. It's because the book itself, we're well over 150 pages right now. It's going to be
nice.
It's going to be a huge book.
So you were getting some bang for your buck on this one.
Yeah. And the other thing, this is going to be color too. I mean, we have colorists, we have people who are going to color their own work, we have letterers, where people are going to do everything. I mean, it's got awesomeness. There's also free, thank you, Joshua News. There's a free download of one of the stories in the book on this page too. So we're giving away a 3-page story by Kat and Chester Busby. It's uncolored, and it's just a black and white version of the story. So that is just for visiting and checking it out. You can get a link to the Dropbox and download a PDF of Kat and Chester's story.
Good thing you didn't choose a Nasser one for everyone to taste test this thing, right?
I know, right?
No, we
poor Nasser. He's just getting annihilated right now with fun jokes. Eric Breen said, "How about a tier where Nasser comes to your house and staples someone else's work over his?" Watch it, Nasser's just going to be that one everybody loves.
Yeah. Well, Smaxo says, "Is there a Tales Beyond the Gate? There's a story, abandon all hope, ye who enter here." I think that's Nasser's story. But
very cool.
That was funnier in my head. So anyways, then there's the next thing is just a tip jar. It's a $5 tip jar. Or tip skull. So there you go. And that's just you don't get a skull. It's just leaving a tip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then there's the standard standard tier is the $30 book, plus shipping.
And once again, that's $30 for how many pages so far?
You know, it's over 150. I mean, I've got a little rundown I can go into in a second about, you know, how many stories and who's doing what, if you want. I mean, I've got a list of that, and it's extensive. Let's see. There's so you have the $30 tier, and then the one below that is you can get 2 for a discount. You get $5 off when you buy 2. So yeah,
So you can get one for a friend or a gift to send
Yeah.
it to somebody, because these are all horror stories, right?
yeah.
Okay, so this is for the horror story fans. I'm guessing it's probably not exactly kid friendly.
It's PG-13.
Okay.
It is a PG-13 book.
Nice.
So it's not full on rated R slasher flick. You know, we want it to be horror and have, you know, some disturbing value, like, you know, some of the older horror comics from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
You would finish reading it and be like, oh, that gave me the shivers. That one's a little wild. But it's not just in your face. At least that I know. I don't know all the stories. I know there's one story in there that I heard about it and it gave me the shivers. But and there's actually the promo art for it too. Is one of the I think it was the first page that we see of John Diller's art. It's directly under my art. That story is going to be creepy.
Awesome.
So here, if you scroll down a little bit and show people the $55 Scream with a Friend. So that one is, you know, there's a small discount and the shipping is still the same on that one. So that one's a great deal. And then the last tier is the big one. So it's everything from above, the 2 stickers, the t-shirt, of course, the graphic novel, and a print of the cover, and then 1 page of original art from the artist of your choice, not including the sponsors. So you can't give away Ethan Van Sciver art for $200. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Or even better, John Malin art for $200. You can't do that. But you know, you could get an original piece from me, you know, or John Dillard, Todd Mulrooney, you know, we've even worked out a way for the digital artist to be able to reproduce and ink over it, so you'll still get an original piece.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Because that's one of the problems with digital art now is you can't buy an original art print, really. You know.
Yeah, it does make it hard. But now I don't know. J Pot Studios is in the chat. He's a contributor, and he said you can get your name in the book with a tip. So I'm not sure how that works, but if that's what John was saying we're doing, that's what we're doing. I'm not up to know everything because there's just so many things going on. But that's a pretty cool plug right there. I mean, for $5, we could say, you know, thank you, Captain Frugal, giving $5. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Do you really want my name in a book, though? We don't want to devalue it.
Oh, no. See, this is the other thing about this book is that it is a community-based book. This is the first big grouping of people in this group. You know, it's like, I know that was kind of redundant, but when you're looking at like 17 creators, we all have similar motivations. We all have the love of the medium. We all want to see comic books succeed. And we're from all over the place as far as art styles and writing styles. But, you know, a lot of us are YouTubers or have a show or participate in the chat or, you know, so many different things. It's just, you know, like I said, for like example, Todd Mulrooney is working with Mike Barron. He's got his own book. He's working with John Malin. And then like Eric Weathers has done a lot of different things. This is John's first published work, but John has been a mainstay on YouTube for a while. He's been on Drawn and Quartered Pro Edition and beat everybody on that. So it's like, it's really cool to see all these people come together. And by supporting this, as you're also part of it too, you know.
I think that's cool. I love it when people are getting the community together. And this project got together because of a community. And now it's a community supporting a community. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when this is successful, it's going to help. Because we've come up with a way, you know, for us to get paid for this, so long as we, you know, sell it, right? And that can be a little bit of seed money for other people's creations. It'll also be some seed money to start the next Tales Beyond the Gate. So the next one was either going to be a sci-fi theme or a fantasy theme. So essentially, we're looking at trying to make this either quarterly, three times a year, launching it with a theme. You know,
well, that's cool. Different themes, so it'll be a horror theme, then maybe a sci-fi or space. You know, kind of. That's really cool.
Yeah. So like exactly the story I'm working on, Manticore with Chester. Chester's already written a long story. You know, he's got a whole universe put together. And if this gets good reception, then that's something he and I can work on down the line too. You know?
Well, another cool thing about this too is it gives people, gets an introduction to people of maybe a book or a story from somebody that you wouldn't have gotten anything from because you got it because maybe somebody else you knew or were interested in their work, and then you got to read theirs, and they get to discover something new too. It's a really nice way of getting people introduced.
It is, and that was really the whole point behind it, is to get people who want to do this, time constraints, being, and actually just to have the chutzpah to do it on your own.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the majority of you are all working full-time jobs, and this is just a labor of love on top of that, which makes it quite the challenge to do.
Yeah, I think there's maybe only one or two people who aren't pros that are professional artists, but they're not so much professional comic book artists, but they do run a studio, or they do storybooks, or they do all different kinds of things. I think Todd and Jay Potts are both we're both professional artists, but this is like their first collaboration like this.
Well, Samurai Raccoon said, "Let me know when you're doing ninja anthologies. I may be available."
Oh, that's a great idea. That one would be awesome.
You might be able to get nerd there if you're doing chibis.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be in it. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've been hooked. I've been like rewatching all these Naruto episodes. I was so down to do like a ninja storyline.
Oh my gosh, Naruto.
If you want crap art and stick figures, I might be available.
Dude, that's another thing we're thinking of, is like, if someone who wanted to participate can only do stick figures, what if we did like a flip book on the bottom of the pages?
Ah, that'd be cute.
That'd be cool.
You guys were talking about earlier about like what you remember going to the pharmacies and so forth, the gas stations, getting your comics. Well, Naruto was mine.
Oh yeah.
Naruto Shonen Jump used to be sold in grocery stores, and when I would have to go with my mom to the grocery store, I was probably like 10, and I would be just sitting there and I'd flip through the magazines there, and I was getting an anime or whatever, and I saw this big fat magazine like thing, and it had like Yu-Gi-Oh on the cover. I'm like, oh, it must be like a weird trading card magazine. I didn't think there were that many Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so I'm bored. I flip it open and it's filled with comics, and I was just so in shock. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I need it. And,
that's so cool. That's so cool.
The first issue I got was the introduction to Naruto.
No way.
The number one, it was their first release of Naruto. It was the second issue of Shonen Jump ever released, because the first one, it came late. It came in the second issue. But you could immediately follow all the series, because they do a recap on the side. So, and I was like, oh, this thing looks really cool. Wow, this Naruto guy seems really fun, and it was like, oh my gosh, I bought like every single issue of the Shonen Jumps.
Wow. That shows how much you're really interested in something, just to go and grab everything you can find on it, isn't it? You always know you found a great find when all of a sudden you just want all of it.
Yeah, it was a fun series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And actually that's two great points there. One is like that you found that in the grocery store. You didn't have to go to a comic book store. It was readily available. And it's funny because I remember seeing those come out and not seeing comic books, and I got like envy. I was like manga envy. I was like, why is this stuff out here? American comics are the best. This should be out here. And here I am, like years later, totally enthralled by that show and just loving it.
It was a very good show. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's smart.
It's a blast.
I remember reading somewhere an article came out when the cartoons started coming on out, and it was explaining that kids like it because they're at that age where they feel so outcast. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know a journalist can actually understand a damn kid's cartoon.
Well, and that was one of the appeals of the X-Men to me, because they were kind of the outcast, one of the Marvel universe, and in their own thing. And that's what made the X-Men so appealing to lots of people. But also, like Captain, what you brought up, like the hunt for comic books and the hunt for something, when you like you have that collector thing going on. And that is also like something I can totally relate to, because when I find something that's that intense, I'm sorry, I'm having like technical things beep on me here.
Oh, it's all right. It happens to us all.
Well, my phone was dying, so I was like, okay, I'll just plug into my computer real quick, and now it keeps plugging in and unplugging. But anyways, yeah, when you find an artist that you really like, you go out and seek, or a writer, and you go out, or a property, and you start collecting that. That's the kind of fervor that the industry needs to perpetuate itself, where people are really enjoying their purchases.
You know, it's actually part of the fun. I can remember my wife and I going out and going to swap meets and things like that, just to see what we can find. And I mean, we got some great deals, like ASM number 12 for like $3 and stuff like that. You know, it's just, you know, and lots of different ones like that for very little, you know, just searching those kinds of things. There's just something about it that's fun. The hunt, the thrill of the chase, to see what you can still actually get out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this idea for this, you know, this anthology, it opens up to, I mean, a lot of abilities. Like you said, if people enjoy a certain art team or storyline, it can spawn off into something else. And the possibilities for these are endless. We could do Tales Beyond the Gate, like seeing what's in the chat. We could do a westerns. You could do like a total like kung fu style, like David Carradine, and do a Western ninja story. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities there.
You could make this even a fun contest in a way, is after people get it, have them vote on what they thought the best story was, or something like that, you know, and just have a little competitive fun with it, if you will.
Well, you know, we kind of talked about that. It's like, you know, we're all competing against ourselves in this, you know, to have the best story. You know, we want to top each other. But we really want to do it just, you know, to do it. But it's kind of it's one of the benefits to say my story is better than yours, you know?
You know, that's true friends right there. When you can rib at each other, you know, and how yours is better, or congratulate the other one for everyone saying theirs is the best. There's something really quality about that in humanity.
Absolutely. You know, it's iron sharpening iron. It's just, it's the way to go. And through this, you know, people have made new friends, and people talked about other projects to work on together. I mean, we've talked about doing a smaller version with maybe 3 creative teams, putting out a quarterly book, and you're doing like 8 pages a piece. And that way, the one property that you want to work on you have a fan base from Tales Beyond the Gate, or subsequent issues of Tales Beyond the Gate. And then so you can launch your own book and maybe partner with, you know, maybe Todd Mulrooney and Kat and I could put out a book, and we each have 3 different stories in it.
My luck, I get stuck with Nasser. Or should I say Nasser's luck, he gets stuck with me.
It would be bad if he can sell books. So
oh yeah. I'm talking, my book probably sell 4 units when it's done. So if it ever gets done at the rate it's going, it's a train wreck. So
yeah, I
say that.
It'll work out.
It's a slow process. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Make it good, man. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
you know?
It doesn't matter how much time it takes, as long as it's a good outcome.
Well, and that was kind of the way this went, is like people did submit things, and not everyone got green lighted, because some people, no matter how much they want to do it, you still have to get a certain level, you know. And I'm not saying that I'm the best artist at all, but you know when you see someone who's almost there, and someone who's not ready, and someone who's like, wow, why haven't you been published already? You know, we can all make those kind of calls. So it's important to have people get their money worth, you know, enjoy what they got. So that's it. There was a selection process, and then people who submitted things that some things were returned back, and people reworked them and brought them back, and then we brought them in, and it was like, so, and that's how this thing just started to keep building too, as people honed their skills and resubmitted, you know.
Now, there's also some stretch goals to achieve too. There's a $10,000 stretch goal. That's getting the project funded. That's number 1. A $15,000 stretch goal, Gatekeeper's bookmark. So that's the bookmark you get. And then there's a $20,000 stretch goal, sketchbook added.
Yeah. So we have been keeping our preliminary work, our design work, and that is going to be saved for when the sketchbook comes together. And I have some examples of that. So like, here's my. You can switch here real quick.
Okay, give me just a second. I'll put it on that screen,
Oh, yeah.
on your screen there, so everyone can see. There's a little bit of a delay before they'll see it because that's how YouTube is.
Exactly. So here's some headshots when I was designing my character, you know, and this could be cut and put into the sketchbook page. You know, I have hidden characters I can't reveal yet, but this character here, it took time to design. You know, so something like that
This is really pretty.
Yeah, it was really fun to do. So something like that would be in the sketchbook, and that was one. That's what is that? The $20,000 tier. Yeah.
Now, is it going to have multiple people sketch work then, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows as we were developing this, we knew that was going to be a great perk. So people are saving their work and getting ready with that idea.
One slick dude asked, "Are these copies going to be signed?"
Well, that's one thing logistically is kind of difficult, is it's an international book. Chester lives in Japan. We have people in Canada. We have people from all over the United States. So it's really hard to do that. We're thinking of different options that we could do.
That would be really tough because there's no way you could ship that book to everybody and to have them, all those books to have them signed. That the cost would be just astronomical.
Mostly the person, from what I know, if it's multiple people working on a book, it's mostly the person that led the project or whoever is working at who's by the publishing, who's going to ship it out. They're the ones that'll sign it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we have a fulfillment center, the idea would to have one by where John, that he can oversee the fulfillment and he could sign. Oh, hey, Muttman's in the chat too. He's really involved. Great. He's got a cool story going on. I don't know you very well, but this is what's cool. Like, I don't know Muttman very well. I think I've been on his channel once or twice, but I'm getting to know all these people. It's just really great to see this build and put together. So, yeah. And so pages are under construction. So I'll give you guys a teaser. This is going to be one of the like an opening splash page where you'll have narration to set the scene. This will be a night scene.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of hours.
Well, that's so cool.
Just for this drawing. And that's when I was like really excited that I'm going to be going digital soon. You spend all this time drawing all these lines and making sure all this lines up. And then you go through and you erase them all. And it's like, and even the circles I laid out for perspective. And it was just, oh man. So I'm taking my time with this one. I don't want to mess it up by inking it. So
yeah. Jonah Arts brought up a point. Maybe you could digitally sign the book.
See, that's one thing too that we talked about, and I think we were going to present that and see if people would still find that appealing, because we could have that done, and maybe have one person's live signature, but then to get everybody's signature in there as well. And I'm really down for that. That would be a great perk.
He also brought up another good point, but this would probably be very hard and expensive to do. He said, would you guys translate the anthology in different languages in the future? Oof.
Oh, that'd be cool. But yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that would take a lot of success, I would assume, and a lot of work to have somebody do all that.
Yeah, I think if it made the numbers, it would. I mean, if you look at if it was a 6-figure book, then there's a lot of possibilities. I would love to see that happen. I'd love to see it hardcover. I'd love to see, it bound that way. And
right now it's at 3,400 right now with 63 backers. It's 34% of its $10,000 fixed goal, but it still has 53 days left. So I stress for everybody, if I'm not saying this to plug this channel because I don't monetize this channel. I don't get any advertisement revenue, but maybe pass this around. Let people see what's going on with this book to get the word out, because this has got a lot of people riding on this thing and working on this. And I would love to see a community-based project like this really succeed and show what a group of great people can do.
And I'll give you another teaser too of some of my artwork, but it is. It's a great book to support because how it supports the community. And in the future, if you're an aspiring writer, aspiring artist, succeeds, then you could be in this book. You know, the getting in to do this is not like I know we're calling ourselves a gatekeepers, but it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's just the opposite. We're really gate crashers, you know. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to be involved.
Nerd, you might be able to answer this one. Pages asks, you said no one has to answer this, but I figured you might be the best one. Best digital art app or program?
Oh, best digital art app. Well, if you want to go for free, I do suggest Metabank, though I think Fire Alpaca has a version that is out for free. Right now, I use Clip Studio. I use the Pro version because on Black Friday, they did have a deal for everybody that had the regular version. Regular versions usually go on sale. You can usually snag them for like 20 to 30 bucks. It's not bad. I don't even touch Photoshop because that stuff is expensive. But 20 to 30 bucks for a good art program is definitely Clip Studio. And then the advanced version is like $300 or something like that. But on Black Friday, they get a sale and it's down to $80 if you have the original and you want to upgrade.
Well, and I was just shopping that too. And yeah, it's $49 for the Pro. It's $249 for the XE.
Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I always miss.
No, you're fine. But I mean, the best thing is like you can upgrade for $150. So if you buy the first one, you really like it, you can get the whole thing for $50 off.
Yes. And
so Clip Studio is that's what everyone that I've met through this is using. John uses that, Oz uses that, Nerd Wonder uses that, Manny uses that. Everyone really enjoys that one.
I tried Clip Studio and it blue screened me and said your art sucks. Fatal error.
Oh.
Sorry, poor humor. My poor dad joke.
But if you and a lot of professionals use it as well. One of my favorite artists that works for DC, he uses it, and manga artists use it. It's high-end junk.
I'd like to say Pages laughed at my joke, so I love you, brother. So this is, as you said, a starting point for a lot of you. And this isn't your only project, then. You have something planned for after this, don't you?
I do. So let's see. I've been working on a fantasy storyline. I have some art of for some character designs that have been working on. So this one I did, pen and ink with an ink wash, and it's just I started off doing I was going to do something like on a variation of D&D, and then as I was writing it and put the story together and kind of bland, and as I was looking through D&D comic books, they're okay, but they're kind of bland too. I don't know if anyone else reads them, but
I remember reading Elf Quest and stuff and several other ones. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Elf Quest was pretty good. Sorry, Nerd.
No, I just was saying I remember Elf Quest.
Elf Quest was pretty good. DC did a Forgotten Realms book back in the day. That was pretty good. But most they've put out recently, it's just pretty much standard fare. So I was thinking of how I could up the game and do kind of blend it with some manga kind of themes where it just keeps on getting more overpowered and more intense, and the stories just keep on going and going and going. And really, one thing that I enjoy with Japanese comics versus American comics is that they're not so much beholden to not changing their characters. It's just a change in status quo. And I think American comics have gotten stale over time by maintaining a status quo or by working with people who don't understand the character. So my own characters, and I'm not, scared to evolve them and have them through incredible kind of storylines. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of the mainstream books right now, they're all stuck the last few years on deconstruction of characters rather than building them up. It's just over and over again right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say they all want to write a Watchmen, but nobody wants to read Watchmen. We've already read Watchmen, so why would we read your stupid knockoff? Sorry, I get very angry.
No, you're right. And Watchmen was really depressing, so why would I want to read that over and over again?
I don't like, yeah, that's the whole entire thing. That's why it was interesting, was because it was filled with shock value and stuff you never see before. But if everybody's doing it, what makes it special?
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is, one, characterization and heroes and friendship. So I had 3 main characters, and this one's a little goofy, but I've redesigned that a few times. But the idea or the drawing is the eyes off. I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that till later, but there you go. This one I drew this one this summer, so this one I've gotten better, folks. When you get Tales from Beyond the Gate, it'll be really awesome. The idea is they're friends, and there's a real kind of cool dynamic when you have 3 characters and what they can represent. You know, one character is kind of the heart of the group. One's a mischievous character. You know, one person represents, you know, strength and undying loyalty. You know, another one has a list, and you do all these things to build the characters up and make them appealing and have them struggle, but not their struggle shouldn't destroy their character. It should increase their character. It should give them more character. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything you should be adding more to them, what we know about them, growing to have those connections that we love about those characters. At least that's my opinion anyway. That's what I like to see, connections to the characters over time. And I think that's why, you know, some people rag on comic readers and things, but that's because we're passionate. We've read these characters for years and years. Some of us, like myself, you know, around 40 years. You know, of reading these characters. And when we see something that's completely out of character, it does bother us because it's not what we were used to. And then they turn around and say, you know, it's entitlement and things like that. And well, you know, when you create a product that's supposed to be in continuity and actually be that character, there is some particular views that maybe should be considered.
Exactly. And that's when you have something going good, and it's something your fans enjoy, and it's selling, it's meeting its market, it's doing the right thing. Why would you want to turn your boat upside down? It makes no sense.
I mean, I understand challenging that character, putting them through their paces on occasion, but every issue shouldn't be why your character now sucks or why this character is going to fly in and make your character irrelevant now. You know, there should be some respect to the character, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there really isn't, to me, it's not confusing why comic books aren't selling.
Yeah.
They're not being distributed well.
Now, I like that character you're showing, by the way.
Oh yeah, this one will be in my story too. That one was fun to do. It was just pure imagination the whole time. I just went with whatever pencil made me do.
Now, is that going to be a villain?
I don't know yet. It looks like a villain for sure, right?
It'd be a nice twist to have him be the hero, wouldn't it?
Exactly. You know, he starts off real menacing, and then, you know, no one knows. He's going to be really obscure. His identity will be hidden for quite a while. So what his purpose is will have to be revealed in the book, kind of thing. But he's not human. He's definitely some humanoid sort of creature. He's got these crazy feet, and like sort of like his joints are sort of like kind of like feline in a way, or canine. So that could be a real trip right there. So that's what's fun about fantasy, is you can really pull a lot of different things from it. There's no limit to it. So, I mean, like for me, I think Battle Chasers was probably the best fantasy comic book I read. And that was just the art. The storyline was intriguing, but the art, but the world that he developed, that was what was really fun. He had a mixture of science to it. He had a mixture of, you know, different kind of energy properties, different sort of rules, the way magic worked, and he made it so it was limitless. And that's my goal in that sense. But other things that I've been doing recently is the drawn and quartered fan edition. So just to plug that, it's on tonight. Should be on Fanspeak, the Chester Busby channel, at 9 p.m. Central. I'm in Central time, so that's how my brain works. So, and that's a great place to see new talent. There's reoccurring guests, but there's always a priority for someone who's never been on a live stream before and has never drawn live before. So anyone who wants to do it, all you have to do is tweet to Pixel Trader or Chester Busby, hey, can I be? And they will be happy to bring you in. So and give
So
it a
you're
shot.
not gated out. You're saying you're open
You're not-
reign almost to give everybody a shot.
Yeah, I mean, on a there's room for 10 slots on a hangout. 2 of them will be for the hosts, and then the next 3 slots are for new people if anyone new wants to come on.
Now, for the people that are not as familiar, who are the hosts?
The hosts are there's Chester Buzzin. He has the Fanspeak channel. The other host is just some goofball from New Zealand. His name Booster Kiwi.
Okay.
Sweet name.
Yeah. So and so what we'll do is Mike will do his drawn quartered with other pros, and they'll do a subject. And instead of doing this, we used to do the same thing they would do, but instead of doing that, we kind of put a spin on it. So let's say they did classic characters was the theme, and everyone in the chat gets to vote on the classic character. And one week they voted on Red Sonja. Says Red Sonja is a pulp character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we came up, instead we did a Zorro piece. So, and here's the piece I did for that. That one turned out pretty well.
Awesome.
So,
I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna highlight it on your screen again. I mean, I could see it, but I want to make sure everyone has to focus on your screen here. Just a second there, I'm making you the presenter. Oh wow, that's a really cool Zorro.
Yeah. So this Zorro piece with that, when I won with this one, and the prizes, then you get next week get to go on Mike's Drawn and Quartered and compete against John Malin or Gary Shipman or Art Tiber or Mike, of course, and whoever Mike has on the show. I mean, it's been Doug TeNapel, that Ethan guy, all these different personalities and artists that are in our industry.
It looks like the comment section, the people in there like your Zorro there. JP4 said, "Oh, Zorro, that is supposed to be mine."
Yeah, JP wants to buy this one, so I have to sell it to him. So yeah, prices just went up though, JP.
Yeah. Maybe I should announce my Drawn and Quartered show next, where I have like 8-year-olds, 6 through 8-year-olds, and they all compete with me and make me look bad.
You call it Drawn and Refrigerated.
Yeah, I like that. Hang on your mommy's refrigerator.
So, and then like one week we did Disney princesses, and we had Jasmine was the winner. So there's the Jasmine I did. We had a Spider-Man episode. I don't know if I'm going too fast on these. You can let me know.
Oh wow, those are dang! I like that Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, and this one actually my model for this is I have one of those that giant Spider-Man that came out like when the second movie came out with Toby.
Yeah.
And it has like 400 points of articulation. It's huge.
I have that behind me in my office here.
Yeah. I bought that for my son. And then when he was moving away, he's like, "Here, Dad, you want this? You can draw from it." I was like, "Yes." So I finally used it. It was pretty awesome.
You never thought about that being such a great model for.
Yeah. If it weren't so darn heavy, it would be perfect. I had to hold it at a certain angle and take the picture right at the right time. So, and then draw from my camera to do it. But and then this was another piece that I won with is they did Cable on Mike's show. So instead of just doing Cable again, we did any variation of Cable. So this is Nate Gray X-Man from the Age of Apocalypse universe. So that's that version of Cable. And he's just having a crazy psychokinetic meltdown going on.
Okay. Now you said you're starting to get into digital art now, so that'll be your
that's my next step. I'm going digital. I have all the equipment. I just now have to get a laptop. But when that happens, but I'm also have capability to print, and then so I could draw in a blue line or print in a blue line and then ink it. So then I can still have original art available. And I love ink. I love pencil, but I really know that if I want to complete anything timely, I can't do it traditionally.
Yeah.
It just takes me too long. I mean, our show is 2 hours, and in 2 hours I can get this done. And that's actually one of the best things about going on that show, if anyone hasn't done it, is to do that and have that time limit and that pressure to get something done in that time frame. So it really helped me get a lot better and think of how to solve problems as I was going. And that is really what raises your skill level, is learning how to solve those problems. Because it's as fun as it is to draw like headshots, and do something like this. I can do that all day long. and it's something fun to do, but it doesn't really challenge me. You know, so I'm not going to get beyond this unless I start challenging myself. So like for being able to do that show pushed me to get into take things to my next level. I think like when I started doing, you know, this piece, I have to make it so that it is acceptable when it's printed, and that when people read the book, they know it's not, they're getting their money's worth and they're going to enjoy it. You know,
I think everyone's going to get their money's worth out of this product. I mean, this project is, you know, what, $60. Let's say you get that, and you get a lot of pages for your money, a whole lot. So you're going to get a lot of story. You can't harp on the price of this one, because I bet you if you page it out per cost, it's a whole lot cheaper than a mainstream comic book today.
Oh, it is. I mean, 100-page, DC's selling those cheap 100-page giants for $5 at Walmart, but it's all pre-done material. Nothing's new. So this is going to be all new material. I think we're getting close to 200 pages. And it is going to be incredible. I should actually give you a quick rundown of the people in the book. I want to make sure that, if that's all right.
Absolutely. Let's give them credit where credit's due.
There we go. So the artists, you have John Dillard, Eric Weathers, Todd Mulrooney, Kevin Stewart, Manny Correa, Jay Potts, Muttman, Pixel Trader, Willie Reed, Cat, Model 316, and then we have Gary Shipman, John Malin, and Ethan Van Sciver. So 15 artists. And then for writers, there's Mike Barron, James Hudnall, Macho Dan, Chester Busby, Todd DeWolf, Denali, Zeb, who is new. I'm not sure who Zeb is, so a cool welcome aboard. And then Nasser Rabadi. So I'm sure I butchered his name, but
nobody cares.
Yeah. So again,
poor Nasser. I apologize, Nasser, if you see it, which you'll say nobody watches my videos anyway.
But, no, it's great. I mean, no one can pronounce his name, but as they go, the books go from 1 page to 12 pages. We have 16 pages story. My story is going to be 16 pages. With the promo piece you saw, I'll convert that into a cover, so that'll be 17 pages. So it is a huge book, great value, and just supporting your community makes a big difference to keeping this thing going and allowing opportunity for other ventures similar like this to happen. It really does.
Excellent. Well, I promised you I wouldn't keep you more than an hour, and we're getting close to that. Do you want anything to share closing before we call it quits for the night?
No, I mean, I really have, told you all those wonderful things about this project, and I know we're going to meet funding, and we're going to be really excited to see who wants to be part of the next book. And I can't wait to see all the different projects that spin out of this. And how this changes how it helps change comic books into like being a sustainable business in a new industry. Yeah.
One more question then, if you don't mind. After this book, you said you're going to do other projects. You have goals of more community projects like this with different themes. How would somebody submit a project idea to try to get into this next book?
Well, right now we're in the next Tales from Beyond the Gate. We haven't started a submission process yet. We're still formulating what that book is going to be. And then we also really want to make this one viable and funded.
Okay. So I'm putting the cart before the horse here.
Yeah, exactly. The other one is where groups of us have been on live streams and discussed, possibilities of collaborating with each other in a smaller group setting, instead of having 20-something people working on it, looking at 4 to 5 or 6 or whatever, but not more than 3 stories or 4 stories, just keeping it like that and printing that way. So, and that is just kind of becoming part of the community. And knowing people that you can trust to work with and know that they'll produce. So the one idea is having a book that's published 4 times a year with different art groups. And then even seeing how that works out to even making it every other month and alternating stories.
Excellent.
So you have group A would be 3 different stories by a group of creators. Group B would be the same, and so on and so forth. And then you'd print 1 month A, this every other month. You know what I mean? Without getting into too much detail, but kind of doing a cycle of stories in an anthology format in order to get things done.
Excellent.
Right.
All right, so I challenge everybody, at least go check it out. Tales from Beyond the Gate. There is a free story, a link there for downloading a free story of the book so you can get a sample, right? But that one's in black and white. And so just check it out. Maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe you know somebody that this might be a great gift for. Definitely worth it. You'll be supporting a lot of great creators that, trust me, from at least from my personal experience, to get that big of a group of people all working together on a project is quite a feat. That is just astronomical.
Yeah, and really, I mean, it's $30 for a huge book. The $60 format is the T-shirt, the stickers, the poster, and the book. So I mean, it's the value on these are great. So yeah, it's not astronomical like you're saying, and what is astronomical is the fact that all these different creative people have such singular focus to get this done. That is really amazing.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'd like to thank my guest here, Bill. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing this with us all. Can't speak. And Nerd, I appreciate you as well. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we sign off?
Me?
Well, of course.
No, except check out this really good art. I mean, dang.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Captain. I mean, I sent and asked you and see if you would be willing to do it, and you were willing to do it. And I really appreciate you going out on a limb without knowing who I am or anything about me, but let me come on and promote this.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I checked out your stuff. I thought it looked really interesting, and that's what I love to do. I love getting together with the community like this and chatting about comics and games and having fun. That's what it's about, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you everybody for sticking with us. Once again, check out their stuff. Check out their individual projects as well too. Try to give them some support. If you can't afford this maybe right now, maybe share the information to somebody that can. Because who knows, we want to get this funded so we can help continue to generate new products and give people alternatives to what's out there. All right, everyone, thank you for your time. And until next time, keep it frugal.
Bye-bye.